Hey guys, here. So I'm gonna rank all the MUT Heroes. I'm gonna go from 33 to 2 because Taiwan is number 1, and we are gonna basically show which ones are best for your team, whether you can get them free from house rules or the solos. There's a few ways of getting them. You can get them off the market, so on and so forth. I'm going to kind of go through how to get them. And most of these, there will be one minor exception that I'm going to talk about, but all of these are basically ranked on how the card is, what the boost that you can get of the card naturally. I'm not going to talk about what you can get to them powered up, because some of them have power ups, some of them don't. That does separate a few of them, but basically how they look on their own with chemistries, what kind of abilities they can get, that kind of stuff. So power-ups do matter, but they're not as big of a deal into this ranking as you would be. But without further ado, let's get through the poo-poo, which is the bottom of the list first. Some actually terrible cards. Like, here's the thing, with these MUT cards, most of these things are actually, very, very solid cards and will compete and be top-end cards for a lot of teams. But there are some, like here, that are just not very good. So let's look first at Matthew Jus Daun. Why is he so bad? I don't think he's on this first page. Let's go to the second page of MUT Heroes here. So, Jus Daun. All right, why is he bad? Now, 6'3" is not bad. He's slow, and he has 64 block shed at the outside linebacker spot, and he doesn't even have 90 power moves. So he's not even like a situational pass rusher. Not even powering him up to can get 90 power move, which is a big negative for me. Basically, having a slow outside linebacker that's bad block shed against this meta. I can't even rush the passer very well. He's basically a terrible card. He is basically useless. I know Ravens theme team, sure, you'd be like, well, on my theme team, he's great. In your theme team, sure, fine. He's whatever. I don't care. Ravens put terrible cards on the field. You are the arch nemesis of us Steelers. So go ahead and nerf yourself. Put him on the field. But kind of a waste to get him. Another card I believe is a waste to get will be a defensive tackle with bad block shed and what's the word we're looking for? Pass rushing skills. So, Daron Payne right next to him, 84 block shed. Now, it's not bad. There are definitely way worse block shedders, but there are a ton of great cards to get, and this is not one of them. Only power move at 78. Now, Daron Payne, you could say, oh, he's got great strength. I don't think strength really means a lot in on-field production. Yes, it's in a few of the formulas, but reach tackles don't really matter without reach elite. Even with reach elite, they're not that great. So, a solid card. 73 speed isn't bad for a defensive tackle. There are way worse, slower guys, but I prefer somebody maybe a little higher block shed. All the cards in this game got really good block or really bad blocks. They all got like 84, so they're not great, but he doesn't rush the passer either, and I haven't really heard anything about him playing glitchy for his cards like I've heard out of other guys overall. Now, the third worst, you could argue that he goes below Mr. Payne, and I won't argue too hard with you, Mr. Jason Witten. Now, Jason Witten, what's so wrong about him? Basically speed, right? High points aren't that powerful this year because they've been nerfed. They get sailed a little bit, but they you can't come down with them normally. The spec catch, the only good thing about him is his awareness. He can get playmaker with 95 awareness as the hands wide receiver, as the possession type tight end, which is kind of cool. I was hoping Gronk was going to get that. So if you need the playmaker, the problem is like he's so slow and agility's so low. Like when you playmaker him, is it going to be that different than just like a regular playmaker? So I've been using him. It's just tough to kind of use this. But Jason Witten, sorry, Cowboys fans. I know how rational you guys are, but you guys will take it in stride, I'm sure. Sure of it. So next one for you guys to get one of your studs out there. Donta Hightower for me would be fourth worst. Where are you? Maybe you're on the next page. Let's bring you guys over to the next page. Donta, 79 speed, 74 block shed. Again, a little bit lower block shed for the outside linebacker and can't get the high pass rush moves. He's also not that hot into zone coverage at 61. So he's kind of like a jack of no trades. Not fast, not even medium speed, not really good pass rush moves, won't really get great pressure for you. Can't shed blocks in the run, and not great in zone. So you can even argue that Donta is lower than the ones that I have him ranked higher than. So maybe he goes below Payne, and I'm not going to pitch a fit. If you guys have any fits to pitch, go ahead and pitch them right now. I'd love to hear feedback on my lists. For right here, we're kind of getting to the offensive lineman section. A lot of these linemen are kind of like slanted towards one side rather than the other. And I'm going to show you why in a second. But basically, 4 of the 5 offensive linemen in this promo are pass blocker extraordinary. Whether this is EA and the MUT team's job of kind of saying, hey, run game, you're kind of crazy right now. We're not going to put out crazy run blockers, so we're going to put out good pass blockers, which for that purpose, I give them a lot of credit. If they thought that way, if that's why they did it, heck yeah. David Castro is the only card, we'll get back to him, that has high run blocking. But, you know, we live in a society, and this society likes running the ball right now because it's effective. But Mitch Morse, 82 run block, good pass block power, bad pass block finesse, but most of the defensive tackles you'll play against will have power moves, so that actually matches up pretty well there. But like the low run block on him, the low run block on Batonio at 82 also, like the interior guys, that's really what you're running, like your dives at. So you don't want to get shedded on dives very much. But pass blockers, very nice job right there. Pass blocking. Bakhtiari there. Again, 77 run block with the high pass. Actually, you know what? Bakhtiari is my left tackle, and I think I got one of the... I got a right tackle with a good pass. Because I like passing a lot. I didn't get Schwartz, but I feel like I should pick up Schwartz now. Because screw running the ball, right? And 79 run block. So, unfortunately, they're a little unbalanced, which there is nothing wrong with having unbalanced tackles for people to maximize their scheme. It's just as the cards and the rest of this promo will show, there are better things for you to spend your coins on or your NAT on, in my opinion. Unless, of course, you have a theme team, then it is what it is. Tyler Boyd, not a terrible card himself, but like I've said before about other cards, kind of just like in the middle with a lot of stats. Not overly fast, not overly tall, but not short. 6'2" is a very solid height for a wide receiver. It is taller than most of them. Spec catch, nothing spectacular there. I think the threshold for spec catch, it's either 88 or 90. I actually don't remember right now. One of those two numbers. Jump 85, nothing great there. The route runnings are in the 80s. There's nothing really spectacular, not that great of a run blocker either. Trucking, his moves aren't anything spectacular either. So that's why he's kind of there. Just kind of sitting there, nothing special, but you know, it's been okay for the Bengals this year, like I said in my reveal stream. Next up, I am going to put Mr. Drew Brees. Now, why is Drew Brees even this high? Because he's got a noodle for an arm. Well, he's basically Phillip Rivers, and if you're playing any type of like salary cap or something that you want, that hot route master, Brees will be your guy. He's got good accuracy, throws the ball pretty well there on target, but cannot throw on the run and is not fast. Really doesn't run at all. More of like a fast walk, and throw power is low. So that's why he's lower on the back. But he does get Hot Route Master, which is pretty nice for a chemistry. Next up on the list will be his quarterback competition, Matthew Stafford. Now, I used Stafford today. I threw Gunslinger on him, and there were a few routes where I'm like, wow, that's impressive. I don't know if it was my opponent's not reacting very well, but that Gunslinger really did sling that ball as it says it's going to. But Matthew Stafford, 93 throw power. Actually, stats a little bit lower than the Brees type, but he didn't miss any passes wide. Wait, he may have missed one, actually. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I think he missed one pass for me. I think I might have been under pressure, though. But it was very, very sad boy hours when he did miss that. So, Stafford, not the greatest because he can't really have the speed. Doesn't get like escape artist, but he does get the high throw power gunslinger. So that was kind of cool to try out. And it kind of did what it did. You guys will see gameplay of him on my second channel tomorrow morning. I think I'll put the video up of him. Number 22, we're kind of getting to the defensive linemen of the world. You could argue that this should be slightly higher. Fletcher Cox at 22. And we'll flash on over to where the Cox is, because this might be too hot for YouTube, but we will show the Cox right there. 91 power move, so we can get the power move specialist. Block shed at 80 is unfortunate for this type of meta, with the defensive tackle needing to be kind of shed to stop those dives, but most defensive tackles don't really play that crazy different. It's just kind of the coding. I wish guys would kind of show up a little bit more on defensive tackle, but not the greatest run stuffer, but he is a pass rusher, and just take it for what you will. People seem to like the way he plays out on the field. Some people have said Fletcher plays well. I don't know if that's Philadelphia fandom coming through or what, but it is what it is. The Cox dominates according to them. Number 21 is another defensive lineman that we are going to go and reference here. DeForest Buckner. Let's see if we see the trees for the forest. Where is Mr. Buckner? I guess he's the next page. Is that right? There you are. 70 speed on a defensive tackle is pretty solid. 84 block shed, so slightly better block shed, and he's a finesse move. Like I said, most defensive tackles earlier are power move. He is a finesse move defensive tackle, so you can take advantage of some centers that might be better on pass block power, and he could kind of like do some moves on them. But solid overall. I like him slightly better than Cox due to the extra block shed. Did I say doo-doo? Did he say doo-doo? Next up, Mr. Melvin Ingram. Again, a low block shed, high finesse move guy. He's already got a card, weirdly. So he might have like a 91 and a 93 in like a month or two. I don't know. Kind of strange. He's got 94 finesse. You don't need to know anything else. Low block shed. Basically only there for third downs. Next up on the list will be Mr. Thielen. Now, why is Mr. Thielen put so much higher than Tyler Boyd? because Thielen has 89 release, and with just plus one go deep, activated that up one level, or even powered up if you don't like go deep, he will get 90 release, which gets you really good glitchy release routes on like old school fades and stuff. So that's why Thielen. But he's basically, I don't want to say clone, but he's very much the same as Tyler Boyd with the exception of release. Not great run blocker either, but Thielen is right there for that one specific stat, hitting that one specific threshold. But 6'2", both of them. Mr. Greg Olson. A lot of people are calling this like kind of MUT 10 Gronk-ish, or I don't know about light, but 82 speed, 61 run block is definitely worse than MUT 10 Gronk by 14 points, which is definitely significant. High catch in traffic, spec catch, height, catch, all that good stuff. So Greg Olson is a good receiving tight end, but he's not a burner. He isn't like known as like a Kittle of the world. So 82 speed is definitely crimilant, definitely good enough, but maybe not like on the side of like, hey, this guy is a must grab, like say maybe a Kittle at this level would have been. All right, number 17, Lamarcus Joyner. All right, I want to actually compare Joyner and Hooker. Those are my numbers 16 and 17. Hooker, I hardly know her. I know you guys hate that joke, but I'm going to keep doing it because that's all I got in my repertoire. Hooker and Joyner are 16 and 17. And people are like, why you put Joyner in front of Hooker when Hooker's got better stats than him? Well, here's the thing. Joyner, sure, has better defensive stats, but he's much shorter. He's like 5'8". He's also a little slower, less agile in the defensive secondary, and I do really consider height to be an important thing when I'm talking about defensive players because they get slightly better animations. They can reach some balls that are like slightly over their head. They got a little extra reach there, kind of knock out when you hit that. When you need those last couple inches for that square button, because a lot of people have a couple beaters, and beaters sometimes barely work. So somebody that can stop a beater barely versus somebody that will get caught over, it's kind of significant. So zone coverage. There is no threshold at 90 this year. There's no 91 zone. Zones just play really good. Once you're getting over 80, you will get a slight better timing advantage with 90 than 88. But it's not like, a threshold, I'd say, with zone coverage. Man coverage also, Joyner's nice. Press doesn't really matter at safety. So Joyner might play better at cornerback if you can chem him up to 90 somehow through power-ups and whatnot and Raiders chems. But overall, I think if I'm not going to do all that craziness with power-ups and everything, does Joyner get a power-up? I don't recall off the top of my head. Is he power-up eligible? Somebody knows. So I haven't actually looked too hard into Joyner if he does get the power-up. But if he does, then still, I'm going to rate Hooker still better. But power-up, there's a lot you can do to get him up to those 90s for like press and stuff and throw him at cornerback. 15, J.J. Watt. Now, why is J.J. Watt so high? Because his stat sucks. I think he's so high because everybody's said for ages how much better J.J. plays than his stats, because he better play better than his stats, because his stats suck. 84 block shed on J.J. Watt? Are you kidding me? That's a joke. He doesn't even get the pass rush moves because he can't power up to 90, power move, and 90 finesse move, so he doesn't get the glitchy pass rush abilities, but he does have 91 tackle, play rec awareness for what that matters on defensive line to stop screens maybe. So people seem to like JJ, but the only reason he's afforded 15, if his name was anything else other than JJ Watt, he would be like mid-20s. It's not well statted. He'd be below Cox probably if it weren't for him being JJ Watt and quote-unquote people like the way he plays. I don't know if that's like people sinking a lot of money into him, but I don't know. I've let's just say the experiences differ, but I'm going to go based off the community sentiment right there. But I would pass on JJ. His next card, late year JJ, is very good. Don't get me wrong. Once he gets like 97, 98 with his power move, finesse move, with both moves doing great stuff, then yeah, he's a monster. But this early in the year, maybe not the greatest. He's unfortunately just like Aaron Donald, where they're not statted very well early in the year because they're too balanced. All right, number 14. We're getting into a little bit of the skill position on offense. Mr. David Johnson. David Johnson is 14, and somebody I've run with today. We're getting another quarterback, Jim Brown, tomorrow. So we're getting a lot of running backs over the next week-ish, right? Because we'll get to Saquon in a little bit. But where am I looking, Mr.? I'm losing him. Am I losing my mind? Did I miss him? Blind Fox is back. David Johnson right there. 88 speed, which is pretty good for a running back right now. Not anything like super califragilisticexpialidocious. Again, another well-balanced card, and early cards that are well-balanced aren't that great. They're more powerful later in the year, once they're all over the thresholds, once they're all in the mid-90s, that kind of stuff. So his late-year card will be better than his early-year card. So overall, solid runner, but I wouldn't say really glitchy at the moment. Just solid overall. Not anything that I'd write home to mama about. Another card that should be better than it is, that gets pretty decent animation. 6'5" with Mr. Mike Evans. So Mike Evans, 6'5", 85 speed, not the fastest, which is tough, right? Tough not to have a fast guy. Run block isn't even that extraordinary, but he's kind of like a high point jumper, even though high points are kind of like nerfed, like I said. But I don't know. It is what it is. I wish he was a little bit better. I wish he was a baller. I wish he does have 91 release, but that's about it. He's got a great release. Number 12. Now we're kind of getting into the truly elite. Like the top 12, I guess top 11, because Taiwan is here too. Top 11 cards that you can reasonably obtain. If you have to ask me how much Taiwan is or who is Taiwan, you can't afford it. So don't even try it, okay? These are truly the elite. These are the ones you really want to target. David Castro is an offensive lineman. Is that what I have to say about him? Yes. The problem is he's one of the better offensive linemen in the game because he's so well balanced. I mean, I joke a lot about Steelers receiving offensive linemen, how disappointing it is. But this is actually a really good card. 90s across the board for run block, pass block stuff. You can chem him up even. I think I got John Madden to bring his pass block finesse up one to get that to 92. Pass block power, pass block finesse are the ones you want to look for. And then just run block. Those are the three stats for linemen that you really want to look at. So DeCastro, a solid middle of the field kind of anchor for you. But again, how much does an offensive line matter? Not as much as, say, other positions. This is why he's rated as like 11th of the best cards and the ones that you really want to target and put on your team if you couldn't afford them. Delanie Walker right here for this meta and all year is always a very good card, right? If you like to run the ball, 84 run block, he's essentially another lineman out there. Sure, he's not as big and thick, but man, does he really stick on the blocks. He can get out there on linebackers. He can get out there on safeties, on DBs at all. So Delanie Walker, this is a very good card. You can sub him out at wide receiver if you really want to be a degenerate and run stretch with him, locking down a CB. So the only downside is, yeah, sure, Spec Cat isn't the greatest. He's not the tallest tight end, but you gotta love Mr. Delanie Walker and those pythons that he is carrying right there on his arms. All right, next up, number 10 will be a user stud, Deion Jones. And you can argue, hey, we got a few different middle linebackers now, and we don't have as many great tight ends. And I'd be like, yeah, I guess I will agree. Maybe you could put Walker above Deion, but let's just take a look at Deion's stats right now. If you don't have Shaz, like if you have Shaz and you got maybe a couple other linebackers there that you're kind of comfortable with, maybe avoid Deion, get somebody else. But 86 speed, 6'1", yeah, sure, he's not the tallest. 64 block shed, not the greatest, but this is like a pure user. And sure, middle linebackers don't get as many user picks, their user animations, but he's still going to fly around the field and do pretty well for you. So that's why I kind of rated Deion Jones that high. He always plays well because speed just is something that plays flat out on the field really nicely. So 10 Jones, I could see it at 12, but I don't know if I go much lower than that for Deion Jones because of how well it plays. Now these next three are going to be, this is where I want to talk about with power-ups. So Chris Harris Jr., Kyle Fuller, and Zavin Howard are the three. Now, Zavin doesn't have a power-up, but the other two do. And so he can't get Sprinter. If you're on an absolute top-end squad, you're going to power these guys up, add Sprinter to try to get their speed up as high as possible. So, where does that leave us? I said I wasn't going to rank them based on power-ups, and I'm not going to still. Kyle Fuller, 89 speed. Like I said, you can power him up. You can just grab this little guy, get his correlate. You can even power up past a 90 overall and get him up to 90 speed. Put Sprinter, Brawler, get +1, or if you're really crazy, +2. But he is a zone corner, so he's not that glitchy on man coverage. You can get him up, 86 with the power up, 88, maybe a Bears cam and a John Madden up to 90. Then he's a great man coverage corner, but he's not, the greatest at pressing. You'll have to get up to 90, but that's kind of, I don't know about +6 press from a base card. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe at the extreme edge of theme teams you can, or theme chems. You can potentially. But what's glorious about this card is a 77 hit power. 77 hit power for a CB. Is there anyone else besides for him at that point? It's kind of weird. He's kind of like an enigma because his block shed is so low for a CB, but his hit power is so high. So he can't get off blocks, but if he is, watch out running backs, right? But I mean, 77 hit power against a lot of the running backs that have 90 break tackle, 90 plus with a guy that I'm going to go through in a second. I don't know if it's just going to slide off or it's actually going to stick. That'll stick better against quarterbacks. That will definitely cause quarterback fumbles. But all of his physical stats, great across the board. 6 foot, fine. So he's not like super short, not super tall, but 6 foot is definitely cromulent for a corner. But back to Harris. Where'd you go? Harris and Zavin. Let's talk about Zavin. So Zavin straight up is a zone cover corner, but he's got 90 speed at 6'1". So slightly more athletic, a little bit less agility, one less agility, than Kyle Fuller. But no power up, so he can't get that extra sprinter. He can't get that extra one for the power up. So in that sense, if you're gonna get like max out your CBs, you would want to get Fuller or Chris Harris instead, depending on the kind of scheme you want to run, zone versus man. But Fuller would be your guy if you're gonna power up your corner. All right, so let me show you Chris Harris Jr. too. Chris Harris Jr. is the slowest of the 3. He's 2 less than Fuller, 3 less than Zavin. But he is a man coverage. He still can't press, but I run a lot of man, and I press it, but I shade over the top, so he never gets a press animation. Zone coverage, low, but again, you can come it up a little bit, and I'm not that worried about zone coverage because just all zone coverages play well, and he's got the best agility. So Chris Harris, it's a really hard decision. This is how I rank them, but I could honestly, if you guys say, hey, this is different, you should go this guy, I'm not going to fight you on it, okay? That's just not what I'm going to do. Number 6 will be somebody that can get up to 92 speed from the wide receiver spot. Really nice. I know it's one of the faster cards in the game right now with that power up. And, of course, you can always add the extra chems onto it. Mr. Cooks, where are you? There are not too many cooks this time, are there? Too many cooks. Just a wholesome family show. Brandon Cooks, 91 speed. And then the rest of his receiving stats are very average, with the catching in the 80s, route running is there. Not the greatest on ball carrier or after the move, but basically get him in his hands, run him fast, run crossers, run streaks to clear out runners. That's kind of his role. Drags, but he's not the greatest after the catch on the drag. So it is what it is on Cooks, but I love speed. This is a speed game. I heard there's been some funkery with routes being run right now, and I haven't really noticed anything yet, but I haven't really tested it yet. So, Bobby Wagner is here at number 5 for Enforcer. Number 4 of the available cards to get for you that can afford it. Bobby Wagner. All right. There's no Taiwan, but he's pretty good. And Enforcer, it took a big nerf, but it got rebuffed a little bit. So, it's pretty good. He's not the fastest guy at 83 speed. Not the greatest zone coverage either. But you can chem that zone coverage up to 80, then you're okay there. Play rec 91 as much as it matters. Block shed 83. Just a solid overall card. I'd go with somebody, yeah. But if you're going to get him, you're going to get Enforcer on him, right? The new Urlacher doesn't get Enforcer, sadly. So I think Wagner is even better than Urlacher for that purpose. Because he's like, if you have a middle linebacker out there and it's a passing down and they're passing, they're generally not passing guys, right? You're just going to put a safety there and you run with somebody faster. The MUT Master type, the high-end 80 speed. You can always go Shaz there against passing downs too, which is good, but Wagner is there to help stop against the run and make them cough up the fumble. He is there to punish people. He is basically the nun to the knuckles of the offense. All right. Number 4. Who do we got? One too many spaces. Saquon Barkley, old thigh master himself. Matches myself for how big those thighs are. Where are you, Saquon? Where is Saquon? There you are. He's not coming out for a couple days, but 89 speed, well statted, not a trucker, but he has a 93 break tackle, so he'll naturally be able to break tackles. Decent out of the backfield catching the ball, decent carrying, great agility. Overall, just a solid card. Again, we're getting Jim Brown this weekend, so we're getting kind of like a running back overload right now, but I do not mind Saquon at all. Next week, he should be coming out and play very well. People really liked his base elite, and they said that played very glitchy, so high break tackle is the thing to go if you want a glitchy card to kind of basically frustrate your opponents into quitting because they just can't bring them down. So Saquon is right there. Number 3 is Jalen Ramsey. Let's give him his due before we go on to number 2. Jalen Ramsey, why I'm putting him here as like separate and better than all the other corners is because 6'1" with basically man coverage over 90, zone coverage over 90, press over 90. He can basically play all of those type of systems. The downside of the Jalen Ramsey card is the agility and something that will kind of hurt him making transitions in zone and man, keeping up. Again, 75 hit power is right there with Fuller for one of the top ones. The block shed is equally bad, strangely. Not a whole lot of spec catch, but he's got a little bit of, he's got okay catching. But the physical stats and the height and the coverage stuff kind of basically sells me on Jalen being right there. But the number one, in my opinion, you are going to want to get this guy on your squad, aka number 2, because no one beats Taiwan, because that is always number 1. Jamal Adams, okay? Jamal Adams, why is he number 1? Because he can get Enforcer. He can get Enforcer on his 89 overall card right now. Sure, speed 87 isn't the fastest, but it's as fast as, was it Fuller? No, the Chris Harris Jr. Hit power 94, which is great for that Enforcer, like I said. Zone coverage 87. He's even got decent man coverage. You can man him up. If you power him up, throw some man coverage. So power him up to 87. You get the John Madden pass coverage, and then you get zone coverage times 2. He could also play corner for you against somebody that likes to run the ball. 65 block shed is better than I think every single corner in the game's block shed. The 94 hit power, it's good too, but I prefer him at safety so that we can get a running head start at the running back, and then you click off and let him do his hit power due diligence upon the opponent's run game. So solid overall. It's my favorite card that they put out. Cool card art too. I like that. So Jamal Adams, I would think is the number one that you want to get, but I don't think there's anything wrong with getting anyone inside of these 12 for the card that you add to your squad, depending on which one you like, if you're on a theme team, if you like one personally. But overall, in the end, it's a game, so choose who you want on this whole list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But that is it for the video. And, yeah, I'll just show it one more time and the whole list laid out in beauty. There you go. There's the rankings. All right. Talk to you later.